Hi, everybody. Welcome to Educator Shabbat, leading in to our Friday night service. And I want to welcome Alisha Buchanan, who is the Early Childhood Director at Pauline Rivkin Early Childhood Education Center. So Alisha is going to tell us what it's like in her world. So how's it been going?
So it's definitely had ups and downs, but I think for the most part, it's gone pretty well just because we're still getting to see the children. They're still getting to see us and their friends. And I think that is making a huge difference on if they didn't have any interaction at all.
So what was it like for the teachers on, just like getting ready to, all of us know that we, try to limit screen time for the kids, and most early childhood centers do not have any type of technology. I mean, it's kind of frowned upon. So
Yes.
what was it like for the teachers, getting ready for this?
It's been a total 180, trying to reset and re-gear ourselves to create activities and learning experiences for the children that aren't normally hands-on. We normally do so much hands-on learning, especially with experiments. The kids are helping the mixing and the pouring, and we aren't able to do that. And I actually did a science experiment the other day, and it just wasn't the same, not having the kids be able to help. And I could see it with them too. They loved the outcome, but the process leading up to it, they were like, okay, this is fun. It wasn't the same. So it's trying to find new ways to do things, and we're all learning, honestly, as we go day by day.
So what is how does it, I mean, what are the kids' reactions to the, what sort of things do they participate in, or how does it work?
So most of our kids, they really get involved. They want to show each other and their friends. They want to show them everything in their house, things that they normally wouldn't be able to see, and kind of really share and bring them into their home. But we've been doing a lot of like interactive reading to them, and especially with online resources, finding things that since we're able to Zoom, we can do the share screen. And so we share screen little activities and making PowerPoints for them. So it's just totally, totally different than what we would normally do.
Mm-hmm. So, I teach older kids, and they typically are masters of their own screen. You have, the youngest ones are 2-year-olds, right?
Our youngest are 1-year-olds.
So how, obviously, we're, caring for the family systems and the parents and the kids. How have the parents been involved with the kids, like with, circle time or sharing? How does that work?
All of our parents have been really involved. We actually have a wonderful set of families that's always been involved in everything. So a lot of especially for our younger children, we try to do just a lot of music, things that'll get them moving. And the parents really enjoy that because it kind of gives them a few minutes to breathe while their children are listening and singing and dancing. So that's been nice for them.
So one of the things I know that you worked on ahead of time was, my kids were all really interested in art. So I had a whole closet full of crayons, things like that. It's hard when you can't assume everybody has it. How did how did the school handle that, and the teachers?
We made each class made individual little packets ready to go home. They included for our older kids some scissors and glue, crayons, things that we might need, pipe cleaners, construction paper, and then we kind of made like a mutual meeting spot and had our parents pick those up. But that was because, like you said, you can't assume that everybody has it. And that's kind of where we were hitting a roadblock with experiments right now. You just can't assume that everybody has those those ingredients and materials at home.
I found that out in doing a cooking project with yeast, and I had to drive some yeast over to everybody's baking bread. So I talked to a junior high teacher yesterday, and she said it's really hard to know the students who needs help and things like that. And for us, for our littlest learners, their social emotional development is the biggest, and they're, they come to us and the teacher is a big part of their lives. And, we have kids, sometimes like 8 hours a day. So how do you, what's been the experience like that for the teachers with that social emotional piece and the connection? I mean, it just must be so hard. And I'm just wondering, how are the teachers, or how are the children reacting?
Yes, it's definitely hard to get that one-on-one that you normally would in person. Teachers have been reaching out, doing small groups, or making phone calls individually and just talking with the children. A lot of our day is spent just talking to the children and listening to anything they want to tell you, and that really boosts their confidence level and their reassurance. So a good portion of the beginning of every class is spent just letting them talk and just listening and asking questions, and still having that personal level. And then in our literacy and our books, we're talking about and reading about emotions and feelings, and it's really just about listening and being there for them, and honestly for the parents as well. We don't get to physically talk to the parents every day face to face like we normally would. So, still at least emailing, a text or a phone call here, because I know they need it just as much as the children.
So it sounds like you're using the, like through social stories and things like that, the kids are connecting. So you mentioned the parents, and I know you, probably not everybody knows that you have a VPK, Bella, and Adriana, is she in 4th grade?
Yep, 4th.
So 4th grade. So yeah, so you are intimately involved in everything that our parents are, being, teaching, or, working, being a mom, monitoring homework and things like that, and all the things that your kids want to do and can't do it. So what's that like?
Well, I have definitely tried to put myself in their shoes. Which is why we try not to make things really long, because we know that there are so many parents that are still working. So it's just really putting myself in their shoes and understanding the situation they're at, understanding that, we know that their child can't spend 40 minutes on a computer when, a parent has a meeting, but, 10, 15 minutes, that's very reasonable, and trying to accommodate around. Our toddler class was very kind. They actually reached out to their parents and asked them what time would work best for them, and they kind of worked around that. So it's been very challenging, but like I said, all of our parents have been wonderful about it.
I did notice that the schedule and the sign up is very, it clearly is meeting the parents' needs, because it's not like 10 a.m. the times that parents requested are all over the day and week and things like that. So
yes, it can get a little confusing. We've kind of had to make like a little chart and spread it out. But it's our kids and our families are number one. So it's just really trying to engage and hit the target with them.
Well, anybody ask questions about, I remember you said the tops of their list is eventually coming back to our school.
Yes, most of them are just grateful to have the virtual learning, because it's something for their children. But there are a lot of them that just can't wait to get their kids back, because they're really seeing what we do every day. And they're like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do this for 8 hours. We've had a lot of comments like that. So they're just dying to get their kids back.
Well, you notice I try never to, my kids are all out of the house, so I try never to say how incredibly difficult it must be for the parents, because I'm sure they don't want to hear that anymore. I mean, it is, we're just, going along.
Yeah.
Any other, you know, any insights, any funny things that have happened during any Zoom classes?
I mean, the children themselves are just funny. You know, being that they're in their home, they're the most comfortable. So most of them show up in their pajamas. I mean, I've showed up in my pajamas to make it silly with them. Miss Jen likes to wear costumes to make, you know, and silly hats. So it's just anything to keep it fun. I love their silly. Being that young. It's such a silly age
Mhm.
anyways. But I mean, like I said, they've all been so great and understanding, especially because internet connections is a number one challenge. And I mean, I've had the class drop for a few minutes, but they don't all log off. They just keep going. They're like, oh, we were waiting for you. We kept going. And I love that. They didn't just, oh, I guess she's done. No, that was great. So
So I read a recent article that this is a social and emotional learning experience. That that thing that didn't work out, it teaches people to be patient. I
yes,
have I have adult learners who are frustrated with the audio and things like that. It's like, it's not perfect, friends.
no, it's not. But it's definitely a learning experience for everyone.
Yep. Well, kudos to you. And once we get over that discomfort of gathering again, I'm looking forward to seeing you at CBI at school. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, everybody, you really got a great picture into what Alisha and our fabulous teachers are doing. I can just see Miss Jen in her costume. So, anyway, thank you for joining in for Educator Shabbat, and hopefully we will see you soon. Thanks a lot.